Welcome back to Redlining. It's a beautiful day outside, and what a beautiful guest we have as well. But first, hello, Richard.
Am I not beautiful?
What?
Am I not beautiful?
You're stunning. Handsome. Handsome, one would say. Handsome.
I wouldn't go that far.
Neither would I. Sitting across from us is a very special human being, the one and only Tali. She used to be called MC Tali, but not no more. Why is that?
No, I'm still MC Tali. I just don't need to be MC Tali every single time I'm introduced. I think people know who I am by now and what I do. I think Tali is just fine.
Exactly. Cheers, welcome.
Oh, cheers, welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, Rich.
I don't drink, so
fair enough.
You
Not
enjoy
even
your
water.
wine.
He's a good boy.
I do. Well, yeah. You didn't get me one.
No, I didn't. Do you want one?
No.
You've got one there.
No,
Very
thanks.
good.
All right, cool. All right, look, enough about that. So, welcome to the show. Thanks
You
for
guys
coming
are
on.
really loud, by the way.
Can we turn the headphones down?
Oh, she can't make
Or
up her
turn
mind.
yourselves down.
Oh, sorry.
Use your
Can't do
inside
that part.
voices.
We'll turn you down. How's
whisper.
that? How's that?
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
That's better.
it's just, I'm
Yeah.
quiet now.
Okay.
Do. I'll keep playing. You guys keep talking. Go.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So you've just been to Explore. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So how was that?
It was great. It was probably one of my favourite explores yet, actually. The weather was perfect. Our set was awesome. We usually play on the Saturday night, which is the dress-up night, but we did the Friday night this year. I don't know why, strangely, we were put on the Friday night. And I'd never really realised how stressful it was to be on the Saturday.
Yep.
The dress-up night, like, I go quite hard with the costume. You know, I love a
We've
good
seen.
love a good dress up. Yeah.
We've seen.
Yeah. And so it used to be kind of stressful because Friday you'd have to sort of take it easy and rein it in, which was always really difficult because you get there and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And then Saturday you spend the day sort of thinking about your set, and then you've got to put your costume on, and then by the time you get down to your set you don't really get to take in what everyone else is wearing, and then you do your set and then it's kind of dark, and you know, like, it just sort of feels like the Saturday goes really fast. And so to be able to do it on the Friday, it was actually a real breath of fresh air. Like, perform on the Friday, get it out the way, and then just be able to enjoy the rest of the festival how you want. Yeah.
Sick. Mean.
We're at the Crystal
really
Palace?
At Crystal Palace, yeah, we're always at Crystal Palace. Yeah, I love it there. I've played the main stage a few times. Like, I did a headline set one Saturday night at 8 p.m. with my full live band. I have an 11-piece band, which I sometimes utilise. And I've also done Sundays as a guest. So I was a guest for Qbert, I was a guest for Aroha, I was a guest for Dylan C and Ed Zook, and I was also a guest for DJ Markey.
Yep.
And I've also played with the late great Jay Bulletproof and his live band. So I've done a few Sundays as well, but not this year. It rained and we went home.
Can I just pick up on something you just said there? An 11-piece band. What does that consist of?
Well, usually my band is... Hang on, let me think about this. So it's me on vocals, Cam on drums, Kitty on keys, got Jace on guitar, and then we usually have somebody else on bass. We've had Adam Furr before, but he plays for Dave Dobbin quite regularly, so we've had to swap him out a few times with other people. So there's usually like 5 of us, but then maybe 6 of us. I can't count. And then I would have 4 people playing strings, so a string quartet, and then I've also had 2 backing vocalists as well.
Was that symphony when you played?
No, Symphony was just me singing with the Auckland Philharmonic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more than a 11-piece band then?
Yeah, I think that's like maybe 25 or 27 musicians on stage. So,
Yeah. Daryl went to symphony.
I did. I loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah?
I love that stuff. Yeah. Like, I'm a big classical music fan. And so mixing classical with electronic, and I'm just like, I'm in heaven. I'm a pig in shit. It's wonderful.
It was a really amazing experience. I absolutely enjoyed it. I loved it, but I did find it quite full on. It was a lot sort of compared to what I'm used to doing. And I mean, I'm a professional, so you can put me in any kind of environment and I feel like I can thrive. But that was quite intimidating. 35,000 people. I think the most I've ever played to is maybe 20,000. And that was a lot. This was stepping it up a gear. And I have to say, for somebody who doesn't normally suffer from stage fright, I definitely got on stage and did the old and sort of went, whoa. Okay. And I was singing a song which wasn't mine, which is like full of heaps of different lyrics. Like, honest, I was doing Gold Dust by DJ Fresh here. And no offense to the person who wrote that, but they are not an MC, because those lyrics make no sense at all. And when you're trying to learn a song, usually there's a formula, there's a story to it, right? This was just a whole lot of nonsensical stuff thrown together that rhymed. And I'm up there trying to remember it. Like it took me 2 weeks to even get down maybe 2 of the verses, and I just could not cement the last 2. And so I definitely messed up the lyrics a few times, but it's all good because Dick Johnson was like, just come back into the studio, we'll re-record the bits that you really messed up, and we'll just cut away to the orchestra when you're doing something different with your mouth. So,
really?
Yeah.
It's nice that he noticed that you messed up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know that I messed up because I wasn't singing the right lyrics. Did anyone else know? Of course they didn't. Nah. Nobody knows anything other than gold dust and go, 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 go. That's the only bit that people know.
Did you not feel the temptation to go gold dust? Gold dust.
No, the chorus I know. The chorus is easy. It's the verses because they're so quick as well, but they're not delivered in a style that I would necessarily deliver them in. So as an MC, that kind of messes with you a little bit. Yep. But yeah, of course I smashed it out the park. That's what I do.
Yeah. On a completely amateur and average thing, it reminds me of when I went to karaoke and I tried singing Ebenezer Good by the Shaman and realised that was a mistake.
Ebenezer good. He's good. Ebenezer good.
Everyone can sing that. It's the verses that go.
There's a guy on the place got a bit of sweet face and he goes, "But the name of Ebenezer good. This thing's called Ebenezer and is a mean gizzy." Oh fuck!
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Anyway, I just love that song. Hey. I went to Wesley College and it was all hip hop, and then that song came out and no one knew anything about this, and I was like, "What are you talking about? It's so good." I loved it.
Anyway, we digress.
No, I want to hear you sing it. No, worry about it.
Fucking word. I'll sing it. Ebenezer good. He's good.
Meanwhile, so tell us about when would you use your 11-piece band if you were doing a performance?
So as I said, I did Main Stage Explore 1 year.
Yes.
I've also done Northern Bass, Main Stage with that band. Where else have we played? I feel like there's other shows that I'm totally missing. We did Explore, we did Northern Bass. God, what else did we do? I can't think.
So when you're not showing off with your employees, what do you use? What's your main source of musical, DJs, other
DJs? Yeah. I mean, I've done sets in the past where I played keys myself. So I did an album called Wolves, which was completely self-produced by me. And it was sort of my first foray into producing and releasing. And there's no drum and bass on it because I didn't feel confident at that point to make drum and bass. I don't know why. Like I had a little bit of thing in my head that as an MC I should stay in my lane, which is weird because then I just went and made like electronic hip hop. But yeah, I just felt like if I made drum and bass, I would be opening myself up to criticism, and not a lot of women were producing drum and bass at that time. Anyway, I digress. I made this album called Wolves. It's like, I kind of called it gangster rap, not gangster rap, gangster jazz, because it's a combination of like sort of jazzy singing and rapping, but over sort of hip hop beats, but with electronic elements, and then lots of orchestral elements too, strings and horns and things. So I'm classically trained, and I love playing keys and creating lots of layers. So I did take that on the road. So that was just me and a keyboard, plug in the USB, trigger the backing tracks, and then I would play the string parts or the key parts and rap and sing along. And that was wicked. I really enjoyed that. I mean, what I didn't enjoy was that having an instrument in between me and the crowd often made me feel like there was a barrier between us because I'm such a performer, and so there were songs that I would come out from behind that and perform and sing. And then I missed having other people to riff with and other people to kind of look at and be like, yeah, this is sick, like you do with a DJ or if you're playing with bandmates. So even though I liked doing the one woman thing, I got to earn more money, I was in control of everything, it was a lot more cost effective when I was touring. Ultimately, it wasn't as satisfactory for me as an artist as it would normally be with other people. But I kind of want to explore doing that again because there is also an element of I can do what the F I like, like when I'm playing with a DJ, even with my husband, I'll be like, please can you put 2 of my songs in? He'll be like, I've already got the, he's not like that, but he'll be like,
husband?
He'll be like, baby, I've already got like 2 of those. I'll be like, please put another one of those tunes in. He'll be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, sure. But like if you're playing yourself, you don't have to worry about that. You can put whatever the F you like in there, and so I kind of do feel like that is an avenue I may explore again at some point. I'm not sure when, but yeah.
For those who don't know, your husband is?
My husband is Chi Corelli. of the Liquid Lowdown. He has a radio show on George FM's on Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. and he also runs one of Aotearoa's most successful liquid drum and bass promoted nights. And we've had really amazing artists play for us, from international artists and local artists. Yeah, and he is also a sick DJ and recently started producing as well. So yes.
Yeah. Make a note, get him on.
Yeah, you should get him on. I mean, you want someone to tell you some tales. Yeah. He's great. He's a very funny person.
What's Tali really like? Come on.
Yeah.
He'll be like, it's all about me.
She'd be nowhere without me.
Yeah. There's another Sussex lad as well, which we like.
Yeah, exactly. Here's my souvenir I picked up from England.
They always come here too. It's like, I'm going where she's going.
When we came here and got married and he saw Auckland, he was like, baby, why are we living in a 1-bedroom flat in Hackney when we could be living here? I was like, point taken. And by that stage, I was quite sick of London as well. So, yeah. 2 years later, we came here.
I would say cost-wise, there's not much in it, but...
What do you mean?
As in, like, a house in Auckland or a flat in Hackney?
But and especially back when we moved here, which was 12 years ago, there was definitely there was more of a difference. Like, now, not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah.
No.
Did you guys meet in the music realm?
No, we met on the street.
Word.
Whoa. Okay.
We met on the street in Hoxton. It was like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. I can't remember what time the clubs shut in London, about 2 or 3. Everyone just pours out onto the street in Hoxton and Shoreditch.
And you saw him and you were like, you'll do.
No, I didn't see him.
Was he the only one not fighting?
No one was fighting. It was lovely. Hoxton's lovely. It was all it's all very gentrified and posh kids, doing loads of drugs and dressing like beggars, but actually, you know what I mean. But not us. So I was with my best friend Kia. We lived in our bachelorette pad round the corner in an ex-housing estate in Hoxton Square, and we went out for the night, and we were very much on a independent woman tip. We are sick of dudes. We're living for ourselves, and we'd nicked a bottle of champagne, and we're feeling very merry, and came out onto the street, and then this dude just appeared in front of me and was like, hey, and I was like, hey, and he was like, hey, and I was like, whoa, hey. And he was really cool, like the way he was dressed, just super stylish. I remember he was wearing a cassette tape on a chain around his neck, like a hip-hop cassette tape, and he was tall and dark and handsome, kind of looked slightly Middle Eastern or Portuguese. He had patterns shaved into the back of his head, like a proper little rude boy cap, colourful. He was just cool.
What year was this?
15 years ago. 15 and a half years ago.
Okay, so
2009,
I don't know.
2005?
No, 2007?
2007.
Oh, yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
Well,
but the reason why I say that is because we've been married 14 years.
Yep.
And we dated for a year and a half, so 15 and a half.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, right? Yeah. So around 2007, I think I met him. Maybe even, beginning of 2008. And I just thought he was really cool. And my best friend was like, take his number. He's really cool. Like, he's your vibe. I was like, no. I'm not about the rude boys. And she was like, take his number. Don't be stupid. So I did. And he took me out on a really amazing date, showered me with gifts, just basically treated me like a woman. He was so funny, so polite, so thoughtful, just wicked, and really into the same music as me. We both love drum and bass and hip hop, and
Oh,
and when did the music collaborations start?
Well, he had always been into music, so he used to kind of DJ house music a little bit in Hastings in East Sussex, where he was from. And so when we sort of were dating and I'd go back to his house, he'd show me his record collection, and he was like, he pulled out a record that had me in it, and he was like, the first night we kissed, I came home and was like, was it really her that I kissed?
Really?
Yeah, because on the record, I've got black hair, pitch black hair.
Yeah.
And I had quite red hair at the time, even redder than this. And I dressed quite vintagey style and living in London, little hats and heels, and I love the fashion in London. And so he went home and pulled out the record and was like, was that the girl that I just snogged? And he's like, God, it is her. Yeah, I did. I've got her record. This is crazy. But he wasn't a fanboy, which was really cool. Like, he liked drum and bass, but he was more of a hip hop head, and he loved house music. And as we started to date, he started to get more and more into drum and bass. We'd go to drum and bass nights, and his knowledge of drum and bass maybe wasn't as extensive as mine, but now it's probably more extensive because he started to get more and more into drum and bass. He'd have a little, play with it on the turntables. And then when we moved to New Zealand, we sort of both talked about what it was that we wanted to get out of Aotearoa when we moved here. And mine was like, I just want to nail it as an MC and as a musician, because I started out emceeing in the 90s, but I moved to the UK in 2001. When I came back, everybody that knew me had kind of grown up and got kids and wasn't clubbing anymore. So I had to start again, essentially, building my fan base. And nobody knew who I was, only a few kind of promoters and some DJs who'd been around for a while, like, the Upbeats and State of Mind and Trey and people like that. So yeah, between us both, we had these sort of ambitions, and his ambition was that he sort of said, I want to do a radio show, and I think I want it to be either a hip hop radio show. But he got offered a show on Bass FM initially. So yeah, he got offered a show, like basically within a month of being here or 2 months of being here. Like, he really manifested that. And they were like, well, do you want to maybe play drum and bass? I may have the story wrong. I mean, he would tell it better. But he started DJing drum and bass, and then before you knew it, he was being invited up onto George FM to go on Jay Bulletproof's show and do some guest slots with him because we knew him. And then next thing, he, was doing his own radio show on George FM. And then it just kind of made sense that we would just play a few shows together. He would be like, jump on with me. We're not a duo. We are in love. We're a duo, but in life, we're not technically a duo. We are still like, I MC for a whole plethora of people, and he DJs on his own and works with other MCs. Yeah. Cool. But it is magic when we're together.
Do you
Nice. That's lovely.
That is lovely.
Sorry, that was a really long story.
No,
enough about him. Let's talk about you.
Well, I was just curious. There's a couple of things I want to sort of pick up there. Was one, do you remember what the record was?
Of mine?
Yeah, that he had.
Oh, it's probably Lyric on My Lap or Blazing. It was one of them ones.
Do you think he knew who you were then?
No, not when he first met me. I was a total bitch when I met him. I was real rude. I was like, so, do you like drum and bass? Like, I was just being an arsey little tart because I was so not on this boys tip. I was just like, no, I'm an independent single woman. And I was like, do you like drum and bass? He's like, yeah, I like drum and bass. I was like, yeah, I'm an MC. Like, just being gobby ass, I'm MC Tali. Do you know who I am? And he was like, I'm not really, but I'm sure you're good, yeah. And then in his mind, he was like, MC Tali, yeah, I do that. And I think he may have even said, I might have one of your records or something, but no, he didn't know who I was when he first stepped in front of me. Well, he swears down he doesn't. Maybe he'd been secretly stalking me for 2 years.
And I think the other thing I was going to ask is, being married, do you think when you play together, obviously he DJs and you MC, do you think that benefits the partnership, or is there, because you are married, you know each other so well, are there elements in that perhaps don't work with you playing together?
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons for sure. Obviously, the pros are that I get to hear him mixing the set. I can hear what he's playing. Like, he'll be practicing downstairs and, throwing different tunes on, and I can hear that. Obviously, there's a really beautiful synergy between us when we're on stage. I'm his biggest fan. I think he's an amazing DJ. I love seeing him in action. The cons are probably that we're quite headstrong, both of us. And, like I said, he'll be quite determined to play his set his way, and I might, like, I used to say that he'd come off stage and I'll be like, what'd you play that blah 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 tune? He'd be like, don't say that to me when I just come off stage. Like, that's such the biggest downer, because I'm so honest with him, because I'm his wife. I'd just be like, just lay it all on the line, and you can't really do that. I learned you can't really do that. But when I'm maybe playing with another DJ, I feel like I could sometimes have more of an input that is listened to and respected. Not that he doesn't respect me, but do you know what I mean? It's sort of like we have ideas of how we want the set to be. And that's why sometimes I think, well, I should just be a DJ myself, and then I could just perform myself. But then there's that element again of the decks are hindering I mean, even though lots of artists like Coven and Ellipsa and A Little Sound, they'll DJ and then they'll come out behind. I don't know if I like having that barrier between me and the audience. I don't know. I need to see it. I've just started getting into DJing, so we'll see. I enjoy it, but I don't know if I want to do a whole set of that.
So what have you seen this year, apart from what you've actually performed at? What have you seen this year and what has given you a bit more inspiration?
Seen as a music-wise? Not a lot, to be honest.
Yep.
I've been working so hard on my own stuff. I wish I could like list a whole bunch of shows and things, but I mean, I've seen other people who I already know and love and respect. I've seen them doing really well, and seeing women, especially in the industry, doing well reminds me of why I do what I do, especially when they say to me that perhaps I've influenced them or inspired their journey in some way, or when they see what I do, it inspires them. So there's this sort of like camaraderie between me and the other women in the industry, in that we lift each other up, and seeing them do well reminds me of why I do what I want to, why I do what I do, and why I want to keep continuing to do it.
So who have been your influences through your career, through your life? Like, why music? Why?
Because it's the only thing I'm good at. No, I don't know. I've always been musical. Music is the thing that gives me focus. I'm quite naturally, I would say, easily distracted. Possibly undiagnosed ADHD, very erratic. But music is the one thing throughout my life that has always focused me. You know, like my school report was always, cannot sit in her seat, talks too much, is easily distracted, cannot focus on tasks that she is not interested in. And yet the other side of the school report would be like very focused when it comes to like language-based things, hence the emceeing, or arts-based things, so like drawing or colouring in or writing or making music or sitting at a piano or constructing a beat. And so that has led into my adult life, where music is the one thing that really gives me focus and makes me feel settled and like I have a place in the world. In many, many different ways, not just, I'm being creative, but music makes me feel like I have a place in the world in terms of being a teacher and a mentor, or using my platform to express solidarity with things that I care about, or using it as a way to meditate, or, you know, like, so it's not just about making music. There's so many different facets to it that are a part of who I am and why I do it. But people that have influenced me throughout my life, I mean, I grew up listening to a whole lot of different music. My parents loved music. My parents used to throw house parties. My dad made really bad mixtapes. We had a belt-driven turntable, so we had a lot of records in the house. A lot of it was shit. Some of it was good. And yeah, I mean, I guess women always were a huge influence to me. Grace Jones, I remember being 8 years old and seeing her cover.
Amazing artwork on it.
Is it the nightclubbing one? The one where there's like several of her and she's got the cigarette hanging out of her mouth and the really red lipstick and the blue eyeshadow. And I remember seeing her, and because she's so androgynous looking on that cover as well, and I knew she was a woman, but I was also distinctly aware at like 7 or 8 years old when I looked at it that she looked very masculine. And I liked it. Like, I thought she looked really strong, but she still looked really feminine because she had this red lipstick. But she was making this statement, and I just remember being quite blown away by that. And when the woman who was babysitting me, she showed me the record. When she put it on, and I heard like Pull Up to the Bumper and like Slave to the Rhythm, my God, just those beats and just dancing around her lounge, and the power in Grace Jones's voice as well. She's got that very slave to the rhythm, that timbre. And I, as a young child, I always had quite a deep husky voice, and I was like, I could sing along to her records even at that age. So she was a big influence. And then just, growing up listening to people like Tina Turner and then Kylie Minogue and like Madonna, and then getting into my teenage years and discovering hip hop and people like Moni Love and Dimples D and Missy Elliott and Bahamadia and Queen Latifah, singing along to people like that. But at the same time, being very influenced by the UK sound, Soul to Soul, and Soul to Soul, Duran Duran, like a lot of kind of Pet Shop Boys, all that kind of stuff. So my musical taste has been very varied. Then I got massively into the grunge kind of area, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Tool, Metallica. I've loved it all. And that's the thing, is that what I love about drum and bass is that it takes so many different elements of like rock music, pop music, hip hop, like even like 80s electronica elements. It was the first music that I found that really kind of encompassed all of these different influences throughout my life, all rolled into one.
Dimples D. That's a name I haven't heard for fucking years. Very cool though. Sorry, I just got, oh my God.
I'm trying to remember what her big track was.
Sucker DJ. It was one with...
Thank you. It really was Sucker DJ.
Sucker DJ. And it had the I Dream of Genie soundtrack. Yeah, that's right. Fuck. I found that on Spotify once because I
was at a jam the other night. I was feeling real good, so the feeling was right. Yeah.
Come on. Going back to Grace Jones. Have you seen Grace Jones live?
So me and Aroha, DJ Aroha, we were asked to play her after party in Queenstown.
No shit.
So we got to go to her show and watch her play.
That was 4 years ago?
Yeah, when she hula hooped for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
To Slave to the Rhythm. I think it was 7 minutes or 11 minutes actually. She hula hooped the whole track.
Yeah.
Can you imagine my 8-year-old dreams coming true, like seeing my idol for the first time? But I didn't get to meet her.
Oh, I was going to say, what's she like?
I didn't get to meet her. I mean, and to be honest, you should never meet your heroes, right? Because even though everyone says that she's incredible and really nice, and one of my friends ended up sort of being her artist liaison, shucking her oysters at 2:00 in the morning and pouring her champagne. I'm kind of glad I didn't meet her because I feel like I would have just been a gushy mess.
Yeah.
You know, I probably would have cried and fallen at her feet or something.
Watching her live though, because when she did that gig, she was 70 something.
I think she's 75, I think. Yeah.
But knowing that and watching her perform is like, holy shit. No, guy or girl, you don't need to, doesn't matter. It was so fucking inspirational to watch her do her thing, and she could move.
Yeah.
Like,
she's an incredibly sexy woman. I think she's a freaking alien come unicorn, you know? She's like, she is like a creature in the best possible way when I say that.
She was married to Dolph Lundgren, wasn't she?
Was she?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Well, you know who Dolph Lundgren was?
The actor.
Anyway.
But the way she performs is very inspirational to me because she's really uninhibited on stage, but there is a certain curation to the way she moves and what she wears and what she does. And I feel like I'm very similar to that. Like, everything I do, like sometimes I just cut loose and I'm in beast mode, we call it. Tali's beast mode's coming out. But then there's still a curation to the way that I will move my body, where I position myself on stage, and the things that I wear, you know, and the way I look, because for me, it's still a performance. And I don't know, maybe that's the drama school kid coming out of me as well. Like, it's a show, right? And I like to put on a show. And the person you see on stage is not the same person that you meet off stage. And people often remark on that, which just always cracks me up. But I like that because when I'm on stage, people are like captivated and they're like, oh my God. And then when they meet me off stage, they're like, oh my God, you're like really approachable and you're way shorter than I thought, you know.
But Tali, that's the thing that's missing, I think, in a lot of performers these days, is they're all entertaining package. You know what I mean? Like, people quite often they're just a singer and they have some other people write their songs. I'm not taking away from their talents or their skills, not at all. But there's just something about somebody who can do a little bit of everything, and you just can't stop being attracted to watching them perform or hearing them or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Does that come naturally to you, that kind of stage performance?
I mean, I've been on stage since I was like 10 years old. So when I was a kid, my mum entered me in singing competitions. And it's funny because the songs where I had to sort of stand there and sing like Edelweiss and, you know, or classical lead, like a German leader or an Italian whatever, you know, like at 10 or 11. Well, actually, I wasn't singing Italian, German at that age. I was doing that when I was around about 14, 15. But like singing in another language or being on those songs freaked me the heck out, and I would often not do very well. Like I would get like third, or I wouldn't place at all. But then the action song and costume, which is where you dress up as a character and you perform and you sing. And I remember at 10 years old singing Papa, not even knowing what the song was about. But I knew that the woman who I was portraying had a Cockney accent.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine a 10-year-old. I'm like, pretty little Sally goes walking down the alley, displays her pretty ankles to all of the men. And, you know, I'm wearing this like old sort of like scrubber outfit or whatever my mum dressed me in, you know what I mean? Teased up here and a filthy face. I think I'm meant to be a prostitute, right? And I'm 10. You know, won all the cups, got like 85%, and I was like, oh, this is where I'm comfortable being a character, being something that where I can just step outside of my actually kind of like not shy, but I am insecure. Well, I'm both. I'm shy and I'm insecure. I'm less insecure now that I'm older, but I would say I'm still shy. Like I will walk into a room of a lot of people and I observe before I do anything else.
Yep.
And then when I'm ready to be seen, I will be seen. Yes. If I don't want to be seen at all, I won't, you know. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. We talked to a couple of our former guests, and one of them said that they have a switch that they kind of turn on when they're ready to perform. Like, so they're all calm persona and then all of a sudden they switch into character. Is that something that you do? Yeah,
definitely. Like when I get on stage, sometimes I don't look at the crowd initially. I don't make any eye contact with them sometimes, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, hi, and I'll make eye contact and I'll scan and I'm on.
Yes.
You know, but I choose when I want to be on, for sure. Yeah. So that's the whole thing, I think, about being on stage as a kid and performing has definitely seen me in good stead. And then I good stead. I am a good steed, right? A good steed. Has seen me in good stead. Yep. And then I went to drama school as well. Yep. So that definitely, you know, they basically emotionally like trash you. They like rip you to shreds and they bare your bones and then they build you up again. That's what it's supposed to mean. It's a load of shit if you ask me. But going to drama school, you definitely have to expose many different sides of yourself and show emotional vulnerability. I'm not so into showing emotional vulnerability on stage, and again, unless I choose to. So I knew that acting wasn't really where I wanted to go, and I knew that music was probably more my path.
What about musical theatre? Have you done any of that?
Well, musical theatre was the action song, the costume stuff I did. I've done a lot of musical theatre with the Upanaki players in Taranaki. So I grew up being in a theatre group. My mum was also in the theatre group, so it was really cool. Sometimes my mum and I would be in the same play.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not on stage at the same time, but in the same play. So that was always really comforting to be doing it with my mum, and seeing my mum, who is also naturally quite a shy woman, put herself in these compromising positions of being like, you know, a witch or like an aristocratic lady in makeup and costumes and things that just weren't naturally her, was also really inspiring to me. Like my mum's been a huge inspiration to me, my life. She's an artist. She's an incredible painter from Taranaki. So musical theatre, do you know what? I'm still waiting for my call, bro. Like, I would absolutely love to be in Chicago. That has been definitely something that I've always, or Les Mis. I sang a lot of Les Mis songs when I was a girl. So, I did Cosette, Castle on a Cloud, and then when I got older, I was Eponine and did On My Own, and musical theatre is something I also feel quite a draw to, but I haven't really done any of it in my adult life.
So something, if the opportunity came along, you'd go for it?
Yeah, I mean, a really good friend of mine, Julia Deans, she was in Jesus Christ Superstar, and I was so envious because I was like, that's an example of somebody who's like, you know, she was in Fur Patrol, you know, she's like a rock singer who's now singing like in Jesus Christ Superstar. Like, how cool. So I definitely think if the right role came along, I would definitely be keen.
Wow, that's
who would you play?
Me?
Yeah.
Would you do it?
From who? Oh, Jesus Christ, obviously.
Jesus Christ. I love musical theatre. I've always wanted to do it.
I like Chicago, or maybe Les Mis. I'm probably too old to play Eponine now, but I don't think I'd want to play. What's the one that who sings? Oh God, I can't think what the older woman.
In what? In Les Mis?
In Les Mis. There's like Cosette, Eponine, and then there's like the older lady. Yes. I can't think what she is. But I don't want to play her. So I think Chicago. I think sassy, sexy. I can dance as well, so I can kick my leg quite high.
Yeah. I always want to play Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. It's not even acting. Just plays large, arrogant man who sings. I'm like, fucking sweet. That'd be me.
Yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
didn't have that.
He nailed it. No,
Do you know I've never seen Beauty and the Beast? I've
Really?
I've never seen it. Sorry, there's something in my
the actual
eye.
cartoon, you mean?
I've never seen the cartoon or the movie or whatever. What I know of the story is that this beast captures a girl and then like gives her Stockholm syndrome where she falls in love with him and can't
Correct.
leave him.
Yes.
It's definitely
Like,
a kid's film, isn't
That is
Yeah, it's definitely
disturbing.
a kid's film. It's a child's film.
That is disturbing.
Yeah. It's actually really good. I auditioned for it, and I had never seen it either. I was like, oh, no, this
They did a
sounds good.
theatre version of it?
Yeah, here. It was a big budget one about, a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago almost.
You auditioned for
And
it?
I thought, I'll audition for it. So I went for The Beast and auditioned for that. Never seen the cartoon. I was fucking terrible.
Did
Had to
that-
sing a bit, dance a bit, and act a piece out. And I'd never acted before on a stage. And the auditions were at the Bruce Mason, big theatre, big stage.
Yeah.
So I walk out on the stage, never been on stage, and there's 3 people sitting in the middle of the auditorium, and I'm just like shitting it was so intimidating.
When was this last year?
2005? 2005.
It's actually not that long ago either.
No, it's not, but 2005.
When you walked out, did the director go, well, at least we won't need any makeup?
Yes, this guy. No, actually, I walked
Nailed
out.
it.
I walked out completely embarrassed, and then they called me up the next day and said, "We've already got someone playing the Beast, but do you want to audition for Gaston?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Who's
man.
Gaston?
Don't know. I had to find out later on. He's the bad guy. I didn't know at the time. I was like, "All right, I'll give it another go." So I watched it, and
was the
Gaston
teapot.
was the bad guy, and I was like, tall, arrogant, me. So I thought, I'll give it a go. And I went back and auditioned for that, and I did really well. And they were like, "Oh, it's incredible." But because I've never sung on stage, it was too much of a risk to put someone with that little experience. Because it was a big budget thing, a few $1 million.
Right.
But anyway, that was my little
How do you
experience.
how do you get to know about these things? Because that's the thing. My parents have always been like, "Why do you audition for that?" I'm like, I don't even know where you look. Like, is there like a
I found that one, but
website or
2005 though, that was back in the days of, I was in the paper.
Probably like in the
literally.
paper,
It was in the
yeah,
paper.
yeah.
So I saw it there and I was like, fuck, I'll give that a go. But these days there's an app called, or a website called Backstage, which...
Yeah, write that down.
Well, yeah, Backstage, because you got 2 sites, Star Now and Backstage. Star Now is...
I know Star Now.
Yeah, that's the television, movie, advertising shit. And then Backstage is more theatre.
Okay,
But, yeah.
I'm writing these down.
Give it a nudge.
Do you have an agent?
I have an agent for emceeing for drum and bass gigs, but I don't have, and I have a voiceover agent.
Yep.
So I do a lot of voiceover work, but I don't have an agent for. I don't want to act as like my friend Bella Cololo. Like she has an agent and she's on Shortland Street.
She's a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
I love Bella.
and
She's cool.
mine. She's awesome. So she was like, yeah, my agent got me this job on. Well, first of all, she did the energy, the green energy ad, you know, where she's
Yeah.
the mother nature. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, babes, I've got me on Shortland Street now. And I'm like, well, how do you get these? And she says she's got an agent. So
Yeah.
the thing is that I guess I'm only really wanting to do musical theatre if I do anything. I don't really have any desire to. I mean, I could maybe be in a film, but I'd rather make the music for a film than act in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was, I love talking about that. That was awesome.
That's cool. Though. Well, I mean, the cool thing about musical theatre as well is you get to do it over and over again. So you get to refine it and play with it, and you're dancing with other people.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Whereas with
Yeah.
the film, you do 2 or 3 takes if you're lucky, and then it's done. Or
Yeah.
TV or anything like that. And you just, but I could have done that better, you know? Whereas
Yeah.
musical theatre or any theatre, you can just the next day try again.
Refine
try
it,
something
but
different,
it's also, I feel like that's also must be quite exhausting as well, you know. And like I remember doing plays when I was at drama school and at university. I actually did a play as well, and I remember doing a few nights, and then when it's all done, it's like a massive downer. Like it's like a come down, isn't it? 'Cause it's
big
all
time.
done
Yeah.
and wrapped up. And the great thing about my job is that there's always the next gig. You know, you've
Yeah.
always got the next thing to look forward to. But yeah, I think I'd rather compose the music than be in the film, because that's another world that I've really started to get into recently, is composing for film and television. So I want to keep pursuing that.
Any inspirations in that field? Have you any particular composers in film that you...
I really
to
love,
emulate?
I mean, the first time I ever really engaged with a soundtrack to the point where I went out and bought the score and took it home and played it was Michael Nyman on the piano with Holly
beautiful.
Hunter and Sam Neill. And just the fact that it's quite a simple score and that it is based around the piano, because that is the film's premise. And the fact that I could play it, I really connected with the way the piano was used in different ways. So I guess that kind of inspired me, in that you have the singular instrument that you think would only be used in one way, but that I'd only ever known it to be used in one way, kind of thing. And yet you don't even have to be playing a full score. You can just be playing like one note. Dun, dun, dun. What's that saying in the scene? What's happening? What is it driving? You know? And so he was a bit of an influence for me. And, there's so many great composers out there, like obviously John Williams and people like that I could name, but it's just, for me, it's sort of like I look at a lot of New Zealand composers now in terms of what they're doing and feel inspired by, like Carl Steven, for example, who used to be in Supergroove, who's now an incredible composer.
Really?
And actually was my competition for a job, and I lost to him. It was between the two of us, and he got the job and recently won a Silver Scroll for it. And seeing that, and knowing that I was almost picked for that job, but unfortunately I did not have the same level of experience. I'm a newbie to this world. Yeah. But seeing someone like him is very inspirational, and kind of, I look up to him, and that I would like to be him in the next couple of years.
Man, maybe we can. What kind of soundtrack would you produce? What I'm meaning by that is you've got people like
I know what you mean.
The Razar does electronical stuff. What's the guy from Nine Inch Nails who did Reznor?
Trent
Reznor. They've got a very different style from your Hans Zimmers and your who we mentioned before, John Williams.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Hans Zimmer is like, of course, he's like iconic, but there's certain people that have that are on millions of dollars and have $1 million budgets that are able to do incredible things, and then there's other people who are just like, solo artists with just small studios still making really incredible things. And I kind of look up to them more, because that's where I'm at in my life. Obviously, sure, who wouldn't love to be Hans Zimmer, but he's been making music since he was in his 20s. Yeah. So for me, that's kind of a little bit out of my range.
Saying that, though, technology's come a long way.
For sure. I mean, the kind of music that I make, I've made a few different things now in terms of composition. I've been given a few different opportunities. So like I did the music for the Karuba Rum ad that came out last year on TV, and then I did the music for the New Zealand Pavilion at the Expo in Dubai, for the World Expo in Dubai, alongside another really amazing artist called Reti Headley, who plays taonga poro, and together we made a really cool little drum and bass kind of thing.
That's awesome.
There's other things that I've been working on, an American independent documentary, which is it's like a medical based documentary about obesity, and the music is very sort of like electronica and quite droney. I did the music for a reality TV dating show last year, which I hated and I would never do again. So there's certain things that I've been doing, and I've really kind of worked out what it is that I like and what I don't want to do. For me, I like music that's emotive. I like layered music that uses lots of strings. I mean, I love classical music too. So a lot of like string-based music, but mixed with elements of electronica. So very like cobwebby, scratchy kind of layers, dark beats. I like very melancholic music as well. So if you could give me a score that's slightly dark, not in like a horror kind of way. I mean, as in something that's a little bit more emotive, or something that's very cinematic in the way, like landscapes and beautiful sort of swelling of music. That's the kind of shit that I want to make. Yeah.
The best soundtrack I heard recently, or over the last couple of years, is the one to Joker.
Actually, that was really good.
That was so beautiful.
Icelandic?
Who did the music to that?
Was it Icelandic chick?
Yeah.
It's so sparse. It's so good.
Yeah.
Obviously the film's great as well, but like the music suited the film.
Also, there's really amazing music what's not Game of Thrones, but I'm trying to think, like even the music to like Loki. Have you guys watched Loki, the Marvel? Like that has got this very kind of like it's almost like kind of like psycho,
playful yet psychotic.
But and then there's like beautiful really emotional kind of like layers throughout it as well. Like that kind of stuff I love. Like I'd just be grateful to just finish this film I'm working on at the moment. They've kind of put it on hold for a little bit, and part of that was to do with the writer's strike, but it's an independent film, so they've gone off to do other things. And like, I'm like, can we hurry up and finish this film? I just want to get it finished so that I can move on to the next thing. Not that I can't move on to the next thing, but you know, there's that sort of like, can't really move on until you've wrapped something up.
Yeah.
But I know that I love the world of composing, and I would like to be able to do more of it so I can make more money, so I can invest more in amazing synthesizers and keyboards and plugins so that I can do even cooler shit.
I'm just imagining what your studio is what your studio does look like at home. Can you give us an idea of?
It's very basic.
Is it?
It's very basic. Like, it's not even treated. It's not even treated. And I've been in that studio for 10 years, and I really need to do some sound treating because, you know, like, I have someone else that mixes down my production for me at the moment. And one of the reasons why is because I don't have a sound treated studio. And so I will take my music to a certain point, and then I'm like, I can't do anything more with this because there's certain elements of this that you need a sound treated studio in to be able to really hear. And even though I've got like some of the best earphones in the biz, like, it doesn't make any difference in terms of like when you're playing it really loud. So my studio is desktop computer, 2 really dope monitors. I've just got a really old MIDI keyboard. Like, I've had it for about 20 years and it needs to be passed on to somebody else. It is nearly passing away. The thing is like, it still goes, but like, somebody else was like, you know, you can get MIDI keyboards that have all these different presets and really cool and like little drum bit. And I'm like, I just like my little, but it is shit. It needs to go in the bin. So I've still got that. I've got a really cute little mini Korg, which I like. My friend Harry introduced me to that, and it's really good for like twiddling knobs and making cool sci-fi kind of sounds. And then I've got a really beautiful Shure microphone which I use, and then I've also got a little mic effects box which I sometimes plug it into to just create layers on, but I sort of stopped using that recently. I don't know why. I kind of went off it a little bit. And then, and just my interface, and that's it. That is it. So it just all sits around me, like my little mini Korg's here, my keyboard's here, my other keyboard's here that I type on. Like, it's all quite condensed. The space isn't big. And then behind me at the other end of the room, it's just a very small room, double bedroom, is Ciccarelli's decks, and he does all his like pre-records for the shows there if he needs to, and he mixes there. So we share this space. And I hate it. I want my own room. I want a room that's bigger. I want to have a sofa in there. Like, I go to someone's place like Ticky's studio, for example, and he's got like a couch, you know, and really cool lights, and it's all sound treated, and he's got all this tongue porter instruments and all the guitars and stuff. And I'm like, my poor guitar is just like wrapped up in the corner in its little case and never gets to see the light of day. You know, like, I'm sure I would play it more if I could get it out. So one day, that's the dream. Compose for a really big film, make a lot of money, buy a big house.
Get your own studio.
Or get my own studio down in the garden or something. Yeah,
we bought a bit of a studio at home. Evie's got her DJ stuff. I've got the sound booth to do the voice recordings, but it's right next to the fucking washing machine.
Wait a minute, I know where I've seen you.
Where?
You did a voiceover before me.
Did I?
Yeah.
What was it for?
You were in the studio before me.
What studio? And do you remember when?
I think it was Radiate Studio on Ponsonby Road.
Yes. Oh, and down Jervois Way. Yeah. The far end. Yep.
Yeah. And you were voicing...
Mitsubishi Triton?
Yes, because I do Mitsubishi PHEV.
Stop it! High five! Boom!
That's where I've seen you.
Can we get free cars, please?
I knew it. Yeah. Because I knew when you were doing your cheesy voice at the start, we were like, hi, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I know this mofo.
Yeah.
You were doing the Mitsubishi Triton, blah, 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 with like lots of big masculine bits on it. Like,
the beast is back.
That was you. Yeah. And I'm the all new Mitsubishi PHEV. That's me.
Right. I was watching you do your bit first.
No, you were doing your bit first.
Was I first?
But then you had to come out because you were going over time.
That's right.
And I had to get in there and do mine and go.
And then I sat down and watched you.
You sat down and I did my thing, and then we swapped. That was it. I knew I'd seen you. I'd met you. Yeah.
There you go.
I hate to interrupt, but we are doing a podcast.
Sorry.
And that's what it's all about.
But, hey, that's also what I do. I do voiceovers for TV. So
wicked.
Yeah.
What else do you do? Oh God, I'm going to start, aren't I? What else? Anything else you're voicing at the moment?
Not at the moment. I'm just the voice of Mitsubishi PHEV, but I did the Samsung S Curve.
Yep.
I also did Specsavers, just a quick little one. Get a new look. Should have gone to Specsavers. I did that one. Yeah, cool. These other ones. I did one for Microsoft, but it was like in-house kind of thing.
Turn you down.
Turn it down.
Pussy. That's
don't use that word as an insult. Pussies are strong.
Pussies are strong. They can take it. Dicks and balls, they can't handle anything.
Yeah, they call each other.
We're on the ground.
Ball bags. That's what you should be calling each other.
Your ball bag.
There you go.
There you go. Well, we worked that one out. That's great.
Cool. All right. Sorry.
No, that's so fine.
You're included again.
I'm cool. I was checking my emails. I was like, having a drink. I'm all right. I'm good.
So what gigs have you got coming up? What's next up on the agenda for you, Tali?
So this weekend, myself and Chicarelli will be at Chase the Sun Festival, which is a wine and food festival at Pine Harbour Marina.
Yep. Sorry, that's this weekend?
That's this weekend. I don't know where that is. It must be out east somewhere, possibly.
Oh, I don't know, actually.
Pine Harbour Marina.
I don't know. I've heard of it before.
I feel like it's out east somewhere.
Yep.
And then the weekend after that, we are at Abracadabra Festival, which is this beautiful little boutique festival, 500 cap, in a like 100-year-old kahikatea forest out towards Paeroa.
Yep.
And that's going to be like a beautiful little, it's like super cool. It's like techno house, 140 down tempo, and we're playing some drum and bass. So I'm really looking forward to that because I love all the people that are on that lineup, and it's such a beautiful little festival. And then we've got some international stuff coming up. I'm doing a show with DJ Aroha. I think it's confirmed, supporting Justin Martin, the house producer in Sydney. Yep. So I'll be going to Sydney to play that. And then myself and Chicarelli have a European and UK tour coming up in June, July. We're going to be playing at Hospitality on the Beach Festival in Croatia, and Club Gretchen in Berlin, and a whole lot of other dates, which I can't talk about because they're not confirmed yet. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
We are a busy little beaver.
Yeah. We are. And as well as that, I'm like, I've got a whole lot of music coming out. I've got a really sick 140 tune with the amazing Paige Julia, which is coming out. I've got a house track with Miss B. I've also been mentoring this incredible 15-year-old singer called Imani J from Nelson. She's got the most amazing voice, and I co-wrote and produced a track for her, which is coming out in the next few months. So there's other music as well, my own drum and bass. I've just done a little cheeky bootleg of Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, which we played as our last song at Explore, and it went off, and all the oldies obviously were losing their shit. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Maybe get a few DJs to play it and then give it out for free.
I'm only laughing because we were at a gig last week and they were playing prog house. Do you know Tom Risk, the DJ? He's a prog house DJ anyway. And this guy came up to me and he said, "Do you know what this needs? It needs some Phil Collins." So it's a prog house gig, right? Prog house and trance. Right. And I looked at him and I was like, "Does it? Is he taking the piss or what? I don't know."
You guys walked into the wrong room.
He was serious, and then he started singing "Feel It in the Air Tonight" under this prog house thing. So anyway, that just sort of
it was
I better hurry up and put my tune out first. Then.
This guy's going to get on it.
I don't think anyone's done "In the Air Tonight" as a dance track yet. Not that I know of.
That's the
yeah. I can feel it in the air tonight.
I just think of a Cadbury Monkey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's an iconic tune, and so the introduction of the track is very long. There's about a minute before the bass drops, and then there's another 2 or 3 minutes before the big drop happens, and then there's another breakdown, and then there's another drop. It's a good 7 minutes. I'm trying to do the track justice because the tune is so iconic. It was a track I really loved as a child, actually. In the Air Tonight, I remember just thinking that all those electronic elements to it, and then the big drop, it totally lends itself to D&B. So
are you using the Phil Collins vocal?
Yeah. I just run it through old Serato Studio. Good plug there, Serato Studio. Run it through that, and just I could extract the drums, the keys, and just have the vocal. But there's certain elements of the track that I've left in as well because it's very identifiable as Phil Collins, and I don't want to mess with that,
I remember 30 years ago they used it on another commercial for Telecom before it became Spark. This was 30 years ago, and they were laying down new cable. This is must have been new fibre. It wasn't fibre back then. Anyway, whatever it was. And they used that song, just the intro. That
Yeah.
And they were following a cable and...
I feel like I remember
it was
that.
way back. It was really cool.
I mean, it would have only
just
been
used
like 5.
that haunting beginning. Oh, so was I. They only used that haunting bit. Yeah. And then as soon as when it was coming up to the they actually cut from there. They never used that at all. It was really cool. Anyway.
I wonder how much they paid in licensing for that, because I reckon I'm just going to have to give my track out for free. I don't reckon... Phil might be like, hey, go ahead, have it. But I think people in drum and bass have notoriously had trouble with trying to get shit cleared from commercial artists who think that they can like see a little bit of money they can make from this dance industry, and it's like, yo, you know, it's only drum and bass. It's not. Although these days drum and bass is so commercial and so mainstream, and so
I was going to say that actually.
Boring.
Yeah. It's very poppy, isn't it?
That said everything.
The scene has lost its edge, unfortunately, and it's really disappointing. I mean, I just see the same people being booked year upon year, and I can understand promoters have taken hits and they want to make money and they feel safeguarded by bringing out these same stale male pal DJs that they always bring. But for me, somebody who was on the cusp of drum and bass when it first exploded in New Zealand, who saw the exciting, revolutionary kind of wave that it created in New Zealand music, to see it become what it is now is on one hand, yeah, it's great. It means that it crosses over and lots of people know about our music. But unfortunately, it makes it very dreary. Like drum and bass music internationally, not just in New Zealand, is meant to be about breaking ground. It's this exciting thing that always showcased new artists and was about discovering new ways of playing the music or portraying the music or whatever you want to say. And unfortunately, it's become very homogenized. It's become very white. It's become very male, and the sound is all the same. The formula is very much the same. And what's happening is, in my opinion, we are creating a nation of sleepwalking ravers who expect to just sing along to the song, or they go to the rave and stand up the front, right at the front, and you're like, yeah, look at all these people who are right at the front of the rave. No, they're right at the front to take selfies of themselves, put it on TikTok and sing along to that one song that they know of that artist. The rest of it they couldn't give a shit about. They don't know anything about. And it's just so disappointing, because that is not what drum and bass is meant to be about. I don't mind that it's crossed over. It crossed over before. It was commercial before. Shake Your Body, LK, Lyric on My Lip. We all broke into the UK top 40. Those tracks were on Top of the Pops. That's fine. But it's the point I'm trying to make is that the music is not exciting anymore. No. It's like you go along and it's like and drop, and we do it all over again, and it's just, there's nothing new or exciting or groundbreaking about that. You know?
How do you go about changing that?
I don't know. I can't wait for everyone to just get bored and fuck off. Sorry, excuse my language.
Perfect response.
You know what I mean? Like, I kind of almost look forward to when the new trend comes about and people are sick of drum and bass again, because drum and bass can then fall back into being cool and niche and underground again, and then we'll see more exciting international artists coming through, because it's not happening. There's only a few promoters out there who are really delving deep and taking risks. And like I said, I understand that for many promoters, big promoters especially, they just want to make that buck. But it saddens me, because that to me shows that they don't really care about my music, the music that I love and breathe and is my existence. They don't really care about it. They care about making money. And
is that a worldwide trend?
It has been, I feel. I mean, it definitely in the UK as well, like drum and bass gigs aren't as big as they were, because people are getting bored, you know, and that's what happens with trends. What's funny is that America, which has always been notoriously slow for catching up with drum and bass, like is still listening to drum and bass from years ago, like that neuro funk kind of stuff. They're just kind of catching on now, and everyone's like, Tali, you've got to go to America, like go back, that's where it's big, you know, like that's what they're saying. Which is funny, because I've been going to America for years and it's always been a bit behind, but it seems like they're just catching on to it now over there. So perhaps it will just move over there, and lots of fresh new stuff can come through. I don't know.
I don't 100% disagree with the male white thing, but I think also that a lot of it's got to do with the accessibility of music now. So people algorithmically create these bubbles, right? And then they start listening to what their friends listen to, and they create these small niche bubbles that don't really branch out anymore. Like we've got with
it's like
Spotify,
politics.
yeah. But with things like Spotify and Apple Music, you've got the world of music at your fingertips. But algorithmically, you only get exposed to a very small amount. And that's the stuff that makes money, whether it's pop music or certain forms of electronic
100%,
music,
yeah.
And that's something that needs to be looked at, and that you laugh about the political thing, but it's actually dead true. And we just need to convince people to go outside or use your own platforms and other people's platforms to actually expose people to other types of stuff. It's people's passion that gets people and other people or newbies interested in new stuff.
Exactly.
So I'm as much as I know you're coming from with the white male comment and that sort of stuff, but we do need to be at the forefront of pushing new stuff forward, no matter what that is, from all angles.
Yeah, and so that comes down to the promoters, but then the promoters would say that comes down to the agents. So the agents will only offer them certain artists, and
so what you do is next time a promoter gets you up on stage and says, I need you to play this, and you play that, you get up and you do something completely fucking different.
Yeah, sure. Like,
I don't know if it's a good idea because you probably lose your job.
Sing Eponine, Les Mis.
Why not?
Sorry, guys. I'm actually branching out into musical theatre now. It's the same thing with diversity, like obviously I'm a massive champion for diversity and equality in music, and I have been for years. And sort of promoters have definitely taken that on over the last few years, and they've gotten more women on their books. But then it's like, okay, but those women are still all white, so we need more women of color as well. Like, we need more trans, non-binary, just LGBTQI people being represented. Then it's like, okay, so you're booking more women, but now you're only booking female DJs. What about the female MCs? We're getting left behind now. It's like, I'm someone that's always constantly looking for something new and exciting, and like what can inspire me. And unfortunately, promoters are not artists, so they don't necessarily look for that. Obviously, they're looking for what's going to fill their room and make their buck, and I get that. So I really do applaud those people who are pushing the boundaries of delving into like who's new and what. I mean, you look at a festival like Laneway, for example. Okay, I've never played Laneway, but I've been to Laneway, and what's great about Laneway is loads of times when I go, I don't even know who the artists are. And yet I've been introduced to so many amazing new artists because this promoter is not afraid to put on different acts. They'll always have that one act that they know will kill it, like Tame Impala or Stormzy or whatever. But then there'll be all these sick niche acts that you are parlay to that you wouldn't normally be. And that's what I used to love about D&B nights as well, is that you would go along and see artists that you'd never heard before. But unfortunately, it's become very same. I mean, honestly, like there are dudes and women that are coming back to New Zealand that have been here the last 5 years. I'm like, we know what they play. They're not doing anything new. There is nothing special. And like I said, unfortunately it creates this nation of young ravers who are they sleepwalking their way through these raves.
I have seen the change happen though in the last year, because what you say about the last 4 or 5 years,
how many raves have you been to where you're seeing this change? Please tell me.
Hear me out, because what the gigs and stuff that we've been to over the last 4 or 5 years, they could only get because of COVID, and the uncertainty of whether it was going to happen. They could only bring over only a certain amount of acts could make it over to the country. And one good thing that did come out of that was more New Zealand artists were giving a crack and giving a chance.
Yes.
But unfortunately, there was a repetitive cycle for about 3 years. But I don't know, I just noticed there were different acts coming through, and a lot of depending on what music you're into, but a lot of older rock acts are coming toward the end of this year. There's more and more coming. I think it's a patience. You're just going to be patient. But
those events aren't doing great.
No, because they're charging far too fucking much.
And it's the same with a lot of these like big dance acts, not just drum and bass, like raves in general. Like, who can afford to pay? What was it? I went to a gig the other day that was like $100 and something. And yeah, there was like 4 internationals on the bill, but they were the same people that have been out the last 5 years. I'm like, how can they afford that? Of course they're not gonna be able to afford that and then pay $60 to come to a local event or come and see someone who's a bit more underground. They choose to go to this really big commercial rave with their friends, spend all their money, and then they've got nothing, you know, and then who loses out? They're like the smaller shows do, or the more niche artists lose out. And also, like, they spend all their money going to this one gig. Like, where are they getting their money from? I don't know. Like, how do you afford to go to this gig and then go to that gig? And so, yeah, they are charging too much. These gigs do cost too much, but also it's just the same shit being peddled to them. Like, you must come and see the same artist that you've seen for the last 5 years, because if you don't, like, you'll be missing out. Like,
and those are the only artists that people are willing to cough up $300 for because they know it's a safe bet.
It's a safe bet, but it's like,
is it though?
I'm sick of the safe bets. I like
bad ones.
Take some risks. I mean, it's very easy for me to sit here and say, you know, I'm not a promoter. I'm not a, you know, but well, I am a promoter. I have been a promoter. My husband is a promoter, and I know for a fact that, like, it is possible to put on successful gigs, smaller shows that make you less money, but but still make you money. But introduce your ravers to different new artists. We had Vision Obi out here the other day, an incredible poetic, conscious rapper MC from the UK over drum and bass. Absolutely stunning performer, had never been here. And we brought him out. And what happens is, like, there's been artists in the past that we've brought out. I say we, my husband's brought out, who that he has introduced to the crowd that people have loved, and then 2 years later they're playing for the big bucks, for the big promoters, and we don't get a look in, you know, and that's often the story too. So what does that tell you? It's like the level of respect for each other is also not there in terms of promoters, you know, like, it's very political, and I'm not going to get into it because I love everybody and I want everybody to book me. But I do think there is a level of respect that's sometimes missing in terms of the people that work really hard and spend a lot of money that they don't necessarily have to create these environments, these amazing shows, and then they just get walked over because there's these big budget productions.
Is that a post-COVID thing?
Nah, I think it's always been like that. Yeah. I think it's always been like that. The thing about COVID, like you were saying, is that definitely there was that one period where after COVID everything opened up, and there was like festivals were selling out and they were all New Zealand acts. And it just goes to show that people want music and they will go and see local acts, and those local acts are caliber and quality and awesome, you know. It doesn't always and then slowly but surely those international acts started coming back, but then it's just the repetition that drives me crazy. Like, put on your big budget shows, do it, I don't care, but just bring through some new people, and don't forget about your locals. Don't forget to put your locals on, different locals as well, rotate your locals, you know, like I don't know, it's just
New Zealand's a tricky country though. We're at the bottom of the world, and it is quite an effort for acts to come down here.
Yeah, but they all want to come here, babe.
Oh, I know they all want to come here. I know they all want to come here.
They know that it's good here.
But the promoters in that here have realized that they can charge ticket prices that go through the fucking roof. I don't know how much money the actual performers are getting themselves, but they can charge whatever they want. Probably. But they can charge whatever they want because it's new, and then they create the safe bet, and then they come back a couple of years later and they charge more money. So, you know, geographically we're in a bit of a not so advantageous position. So yeah, I don't know the answer.
No,
it's tricky.
It is tricky.
Rich, what's the answer?
I don't know what the answer is, but there's a certain rock band coming over at the end of this year, which I won't name.
Pearl Jam.
Which I won't name. Who are charging $250 a ticket for the shit seats and $450 plus for average half decent seats. Now that is crazy.
That's mental.
I know, but I mean, I understand that to put on a really, really big show, there's so many people that you've got to pay and all that, but it's just like, it's crazy. Like, who can afford that, you know?
I actually think 90% of that goes to the ticket booking
Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a whole world I don't even know
the $95 booking fee.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm grateful that drum and bass is crossing over in the way that it is, and you know, and I definitely am somebody who's always moved with the times. I'm not one of these like, oh, we should be still playing vinyl, you know, like I've always been like, you know, or someone who's like, oh, you shouldn't press sync on the decks. It's like, just do what the hell you want.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think there just needs to be, people need to remember that the whole exciting thing about dance music is that it's always been this progressive, exciting movement that we are really lucky to be a part of. And unfortunately, to me, it's lost that progressive excitingness, and it's become very stale and very predictable, and almost like it's just like we're going to a pop show, like you said. We're just going to a pop show where we sing along and we sit in our little, not even our seats, but you know, you're raving, but we're there, and it's all very predictable.
Yeah.
And that's why I give kudos to a lot of the festivals that we have here in New Zealand that are pushing those boundaries and trying to do things differently, and have always celebrated different original acts and legacy acts, like Splore, for example. Splore's always really celebrated its locals. Splore loves its local artists and treats them well. Shipwrecked is another great boutique festival, and Abracadabra, which treats its local artists really well. But in terms of like where they bill them and how much love and kudos they give them, but at the same time will bring through exciting international acts, and then cool legacy acts like Splore, you know, Far Side, like Black Alicious, Erykah Badu. I'm still waiting for him to bring Jamiroquai, but I probably think that's a little bit.
Fuck, that would be sick.
I know, but I think Jamiroquai is like Jamiroquai is ridiculously expensive, so and has an crazy entourage. But how good would that be?
That'd be insane.
So I applaud these kind of festivals that are trying to take these risks and do different things. Obviously, I mentioned Laneway, and there's other ones as well. You know, and we're lucky to have those in amongst perhaps a lot of the white noise, I call it.
Yeah. And I think that's a nice positive way to end it, because it is good. And I just think New Zealand music at the moment is going off because of the little break that we had with COVID, and more people given an opportunity, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think those little niche festivals, not little niche festivals anymore, but
boutique festivals.
Boutique. Your Splores, your Shipwrecks, your OMs, you know.
Oh my God, I forgot to mention OM. OM is amazing. OM is such an incredible festival.
So is Jean Paul. He's cool.
Yes, we love Jean Paul.
We had him on the other day.
He is awesome. Yeah. I mean, the thing about New Zealand music, like, let's just talk about New Zealand music for a second. Like, the amount of amazing local New Zealand music, not just in electronic music, but obviously like pop and rock and country, like someone like Hayley Bell who's smashing it overseas, you know, like there's just, you know, there's something about this country that does foster and encourage and create these amazing New Zealand musicians. And a lot of them do well here and a lot of them do well overseas, you know, and I just feel really grateful to be from New Zealand and to be surrounded by so much amazing music that I can be inspired by. Like, of course, I love international music, but I really love it when, like, for example, my two friends from America just came here recently from LA, and they said to me, come on, Tali, introduce us to some New Zealand music. We're taking a road trip. We want at least 3 hours. And I had such a fun time, like, making them this playlist of, like, old music as well, and, like, great road trip music, like, you know, you got Fat Freddy's, and, you know, like the Black Seeds and stuff like that. But, like, then bringing them into, like, cool New Zealand, more up-to-date music, electronic music like Sonoy and Leaping Tiger, and then when we were at Splore, they were like, who do we go and see? I was like, we've got to see Patsy Skeet, and you've got to see Mia Cobra and Paige Julia, and you know, like Dylan C, obviously, you know, like just all these amazing DJs who aren't even producers that we've got that curate these incredible experiences for us. We are so lucky. We are so blessed to have that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah.
We live in the best place in the world.
We really do. We
it's too
really
far
do.
away, but we live in the best place in the world. We always come back.
Yeah. I don't
Tali.
know. It's pretty nice to be isolated and sometimes and away from all the the noise that's happening in the world.
The older I get, the more I like it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Tali, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for
well
having
across
me.
the hour. This is good. We didn't even think about the time. No, we just flew
I don't
through.
even know. We like talked about half the things I wanted to. I don't know what I wanted to talk about, but anyway.
That's the beauty of things like this, and we can always have you on again.
Exactly.
Because we always like to do catch-up shows, which we will start doing soon with other people.
Okay, cool.
And we did waste 10 minutes talking about voiceovers. So.
Shut up. It was great. It was great. Some of us have talent. Tali, thank you very much once again. Thank you very much once again for coming on.
Thank you both. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And best of luck with the future. You sound like a very busy human being, and it's great to hear that you're very busy.
Yeah, I love it. I loved being busy. I think if I wasn't busy, I would be sad.
Very. It sounds like it. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.